Okay, and welcome to this tutorial on how to create your first eSheet. So the first thing we're going to get to is obviously if we click on create new eSheet, it'll bring us to this. It goes in and it looks for any kind of document or PDF inside your Google Drive that has been edited or touched or opened within the last year, and it gets the top 50, the most recent 50, and it ranks them by how recent. So the ones that you edited and touched just the last time would be on top. And so obviously when you're on this, you can double click, you can click and select, you can switch from grid to list view and search. You can double click these, you can click here, click select, or you can choose a file and upload a PDF only from your actual computer. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to open up this little sample worksheet I have. So double click it. And so it takes a little bit sometimes because it's actually doing a lot of converting process on the server. So the first thing it comes to is it's just a simple little instructional thing where it just kind of flips through and gets you started. And the first time through, walk through this, and it'll try to walk you through, and I'll kind of talk more about it. So go ahead and click get started, and we can just click next and go through everything. But I'm going to go ahead and click got it, and I'm going to walk you through it myself. So obviously the first time you're using this is something you're going to spend a lot of your time inside Duck Soup, and this is where you actually go in and make your answer key for your eSheet. Over here is the menu that you navigate through, and here's the actual eSheet that was imported. I can click settings and go to the settings. I could actually click here and add an answer block. I could zoom in and out if I need to. And on this first eSheet, on this worksheet there's no questions on the first page. So if there's multiple pages, you'll notice right here I click this and it goes to the next page if I want to go back right there. So name and period. We don't need the name and the period because students we collect their names inside Duck Soup, so there's no reason to worry about identifying your students. You'll be able to identify them later. So the first thing we do is we click and drag to draw our answer block. So we click and drag. We can actually double click inside to make that stick. We can click create, or we can actually hit the enter button. So if we hit enter, click here, double click, it actually sticks. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. And so now, once I'm in there, if I click inside, I'm always going to try, for the most part, I'm going to put my answer inside here. That's where I actually put the answer to the answer key. Now, you'll notice that whenever I clicked inside of this little thing popped up. That's where, so if I click this, that goes away. If I click there, it goes back. Or if I click inside here, you'll notice it comes back. Now, whenever I draw more than one box, I'm going to go ahead and draw a couple boxes here. I'm going to hit the enter key on that one. I'm going to double click inside on that one. Now you'll notice whenever I click over here that they actually change, and then if I click over here you'll notice that it changes over here. I can actually resize by clicking on this little button here, and I can change the position of this if I wanted to, right? So I can actually change. And anytime that I'm doing this, and sometimes technology is not absolutely 100% perfect, so anytime I'm doing this and I want to let's say it sticks or something like that, if I just go up and hit the refresh button, it'll bring me right back to where I was and everything's fine. If I want to delete something, I just click the little delete box and click yes, and it'll actually delete that for me. Now up here there's actually two tabs. So whenever I want to actually look at all the different choices I have for an answer box, I can click on this second tab right here, and it chooses the number. Now, you'll notice it doesn't really know what number you have, so it actually numbers these in the order that you drew them. So if you draw one down here and then draw one up here, it'll put this as number 1 and this up here as number 2. So the number question you can actually go through and change if you want. The points. Don't really worry about how many points things are, because it automatically will calculate the % correct. So as you just leave them 1 point, that's fine. And if you want something to count twice as much as the other things, then just, bump it up to 2. If you want something that you don't want it to count at all, just bump the points down to 0. Now, right here where it says correct answer, what happens is if I type here and I actually put my correct answer, it actually puts it right here. It's just showing what the answer is. This is the answer. And so that it puts it right there. The help text. Help text is actually what your students will see. They'll see a little question mark that'll come up. If they click on it, they'll see this. Everything else will be gone. They'll see the help text and the help link. If they click on it, they can actually put a link to a video or something like that. It'll actually open up a new tab and send them to the video. Then they can come back and answer your question. So let's talk about the different answer types real quick. So first of all, the answer type for text is just text. It's going to match it exactly. Now actually it's actually not case sensitive, but as far as spelling, when your students are doing this, if they misspell a word, there's no other way around it. It's going to count it wrong. And so if I put in multiple words, this is an answer, then it will actually look for these multiple words exactly written just like this to count it correct or incorrect. Now if I want multiple words and they can be in different order, then I might select in the different answer types, I might go down here to paragraph response. Now you'll notice in paragraph response there is no place for me to type in this. When there's no place for me to type inside this blank to put an answer, then that means there's actually something going on over here. And so whenever there's a paragraph response, so I'm going to go ahead and click that back to text. I'm going to draw a bigger one because I'm going to make it to where it's actually like a paragraph. So if I click right here, paragraph response, then you'll notice that it says place keywords in search in order to help with grading later. So I can actually put in 4 different keywords and it'll give them partial credit based on the number of keywords that I put in there. So if I put in 2 keywords, then they're worth half a credit each. Put in 4, then it's 25% each partial credit. And so it'll look for those keywords and match them. And so that's kind of how that works. Let's look at the next thing. So number, I can actually put in an actual number if I want to force them to answer a number. Multiple choice. You'll notice over here when I do multiple choice that there's no place to put in answers, so that means they're over here. So I can actually, put in here for my multiple choice, and I need to select one of them to be correct. Or I can come over here and select this one to be correct, and you'll notice that it'll change over here. So I need to select the correct answer. The next one. So I have a couple different things here. I have math and chemistry. And so in a math and chemistry response, so let's say I do this one right here. If I select math and chemistry, then I'll actually make this little tiny box here. If I click editor, you'll notice that I actually have a math equation editor. So I can do the cube root of 27. And click update, and it'll actually put it right here, and it'll grade it just like that. Now, you'll notice that the size of the lettering is different. The size of the font inside the answer blanks is based on the size of the box. So if I draw a really big box, right, and I click inside of it and I type, you'll notice that there's a lot, it's a really big font there. And so if I draw a little small box and I type in there, you'll notice that it has a small font. So if you're trying to control the font size, then just control the size that you draw the box. The box doesn't have to be exactly the size of the blank. So if I want a larger font, larger box, smaller font, smaller box. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete these. I'll click here, delete, yes. Click on that one, delete, yes. Okay, the next one. Let's look at drawing responses. And so if I click here, if I want to do a show your work box, so I want my students to actually show their work, then what I would do is I would draw a box over the entire problem I want them to show their work on. Because later on, when they actually click on this, what will happen is it will blow up that entire problem full screen. So I still want them to be able to read the problem when it goes to full screen. So anytime I'm doing any kind of show your work, I want them to write on the paper. I want to draw over the actual problem too. So I click on that tab. I change this to a show your work box. Now a show your work box makes that whole area I drew the box around, it makes that active. They're going to be able to write on it. Now show your work boxes is basically you have a text response that will be automatically graded. It won't grade the written show your work, but at least you can go back and look at it if this is incorrect. So like if I wanted the answer to be 10, then then that will be right there. Okay. So there's also a choice if I want to, instead of a show your work, I can actually do a show your work math and chemistry. So again, it works the exact same way, show your work math and chemistry. And then I can also, let's say I want them to draw on this part. Well, a good example in this paper would actually be right here. Let's say I want my students to be able to draw on this. Maybe I want them to be able to mark out the ones that they've already used, or maybe there's an answer key or something like that. So if I want my students to draw on this, but there's not really a correct answer, I would just use a drawing box, and I would change the points to 0. So drawing box, change the points to 0. That means the students can now draw on this area, and they won't have to worry about it grading. You won't have to worry about it grading correct or incorrect. All drawing boxes are automatically correct, so if you leave the points as 1, they will actually get credit. If you leave the points as 0, then it grades it correct, but there's no credit, so it doesn't really change their score or anything like that. So those are all the different types of answer blanks, and I will, in the next video, I'll talk about how to assign this to students. So when I'm done, all I have to do is go back to settings, and you'll see the answers that I selected for each one of these. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at support@ducksoup.us. Thank you.